actually. President Obama continues to blame oil companies for high gas prices, but Mitt Romney is blaming someone else. Look at this.
In fact, the gas hike trio ought to resign. They really ought to turn in their resignations. They were hired to raise the cost of gasoline, and now the president says he wants to lower it. Given that's the new direction, their expertise is not in lowering the price of gasoline. Their expertise was in raising it. So if I were them, I'd simply turn in my resignation. That's what they should do. And if they don't, he should fire them.
All right, here is the gas hike trio that Mitt Romney was referring to. Stephen Chu, he's the Secretary of Energy. Ken Salazar, he's the Secretary of the Interior. And Lisa Jackson, the EPA Administrator. Joining us now is Robert Bryce from the Manhattan Institute. He is the author of Power Hungry. All right, Robert, you are the expert on alternative energy. Well, you are. I mean, you know what you're talking about here. On alternative energy sources, solar, and in particular, wind. I want to know how much can the president's favorites, solar and wind, how much can they realistically supply to our energy needs in the immediate future?
Well, for solar and wind, effectively zero. Because if you're going to rely on solar and wind to work in the transportation sector, you have to have electric vehicles, and we have effectively zero electric vehicles on the road in America today. And yet this is one of the big bets that Obama has been continually making, saying, "Oh, we have to get rid of oil, we have to get off of oil." Here's the reality, Stuart, and it's not a conspiracy of big oil; it's a conspiracy of basic physics. Gasoline has 80 times the energy density of the best lithium-ion batteries. So this idea that somehow we're going to quit using oil anytime soon is just simply wrong.
Now, Mitt Romney called for the firing of the gas hike trio, as you saw there. Is it legit to hold those three people responsible for high gas prices?
Well, I think in the case of Secretary Chu, I'm not a fan, and if you listen to his rhetoric and what he said, and particularly the projects that the Department of Energy has supported, I would support replacing Chu simply because the president, remember, he said just recently we need to either place our bets on fossil fuel from the last century or place the bets on America's future. Well, what have those bets been that the Obama administration has made? Solyndra, Inter1, Beacon Power, Range Fuels, all of them have gone bust. All of them were bets that somehow they were going to displace traditional hydrocarbons, traditional sources of energy. And not only have they not done that, they've failed spectacularly at big expense to American taxpayers.
Is there anything which the administration or any other official could do this week that really would get the price of gas to either stabilize or come down? Is there anything you can think of?
Well, I mean, look, a lot of this reason for the spike in prices is because of the rhetoric over Iran, all the saber rattling, all the talk about attacking Iran. So I think if they tone down the rhetoric, but I don't expect that to happen, I think that could calm the markets fairly quickly. But I don't expect that to happen. And also we just now have a lot of froth in the markets. But I also think, just taking it one step further, quit demonizing the oil companies. The news of the day is Apple. Apple's profit margin is 4 times that of BP. Apple is 4 times the size of BP, and yet BP is the biggest domestic oil producer. So I don't know. There's fundamentally an anti-profit rhetoric in Obama's discussions about the energy business that I think are just flat wrong and really somewhat dangerous.
Robert Bryce from the Manhattan Institute. We appreciate you being with us again, sir. Thanks a lot.